Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago and beyond, this is Cognitive Dissonance. Every episode, we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes the news, makes it big, or makes us mad. It's skeptical, it's political, and there is no welcome mat. Today is Thursday, December 19th. And I hope you guys are doing well. As you could tell, Tom is not introducing the show this week. Tom is still taking care of his wife. She is having a real hard time, and Tom is trying to take care of her and a whole household and having a real rough time, especially at the holidays, with a lot of things going on with Haley in a very sick condition. And so he has been off of many podcasts. If you follow any of the podcastiverse, he wasn't on Citation Needed earlier this week. I don't think he was on Dear Old Dads either. He hasn't been on Cogdis in a couple of weeks. Tom, certainly would love to hear from you. If you're a fan of the show and you want to wish Tom well, you can always send him a message, dissonance.podcast@gmail.com, or you can make a comment if you're a patron on this episode in Patreon. Tom will certainly see that. With the way things shook out this month, we are going to be behind episodes. There's no way we can... it's going to be real hard to record even Monday episodes all the way through to the end of the month. I am going away on vacation. I have a vacation planned all month, and inopportune timing and not being able to record. Normally we would record something that would be a sort of evergreen for next week and we would post it, but we can't even post it. But we probably will not have a Monday show. We also won't have a patron show, I don't think, this month. Because there's just not enough time at this point to put anything out there. So we're essentially behind episodes this month. I apologize. We've never really done that. You know, we've been doing the show here at this point for a very long time. We've never really been behind episodes. We never missed a Monday in the entire time that we've been recording. But we're in pretty dire circumstances right now. So we're not going to be able to record, I don't think, next Monday. The only possible way that it could possibly happen is if I come back from vacation, which I'll be landing on next Saturday, if everything's okay with Tom, which I hope by then, my goodness, I hope by then it is, there's a possibility I might be able to record something on Saturday with him and then do a quick release Saturday, Sunday morning, something like that, and then have a Monday show. But I'm not going to bank on that. There's a possibility that we don't have a next Monday show. So I'm just letting people know ahead of time. I know it's a long way to say that, but I'm just letting people know there probably won't be a show next Monday. I'm hoping that at the start of the new year, Haley's feeling much better and Tom can come back to a some semblance of normal life. He's been very stressed and it's been very difficult for him and for his wife. So we're hoping the best for them. The good news is I have a friend of mine who's going to join us today. No Illusions from the Scathing Atheist is going to join us. We're going to do some stories and we're going to hang out and talk. And so why don't we jump right into that right now? So I am joined by No Illusions from Scathing Atheist, Skeptocrat, D&D Minus, God Awful Movies, and their sister show and our sister show, Citation Needed. One of the OG skeptics, one of the OG atheists on the podcast circuit. Welcome back to the show, Noah.
Hey, it's great to be back, man. I wish I was here under better circumstances.
Yeah, me too, bud. Me too. So we're going to jump right in today. We've got a lot to cover. So we're going to start today with this story from New York Times. Elon Musk flexes his political strength as government shutdown looms. And this is a story about how the richest man in the world led a charge to kill a bipartisan spending deal, in part by promoting false and misleading claims about it. That's where I want to start. Is here's a guy who owns one of the biggest bullhorns in the world, and he can't even argue his way through to get this thing shut down. He has to spread misinformation in order for it to get shut down.
Yeah, he's just making shit up. Remember how in 1984 they thought they'd have to go in and physically change pieces of paper and shit? Right? Like George Orwell overestimated us by so much, by how hard it was going to be, right, to fool us. But yeah, that's kind of the most terrifying thing hiding in this. And there's a lot of terrifying shit, right? Like this is a Matryoshka doll of terrifying shit. But that's the key nugget, is that it's misinformation to begin with. And nobody seems to give a shit, right? Like the response to this is Marjorie Taylor Greene calling for Elon Musk to be elected Speaker of the fucking House.
I know, dude. There's multiple people suggesting this. What on earth is happening? They were suggesting, though, last term that Trump be elected to Speaker of the House. What do you think about this? Like, I know that it's not a rule that you have to be in the Congress in order to be Speaker of the House. Do you think something like that slips past the goalie in this Congress? It feels a little weak for it to do that.
Yeah, I mean, like what they're ultimately talking about doing there is taking a job away from themselves, right? And taking control away from themselves. So I don't, like, it would have to be some crazy amount of pressure for that. But hey, we're seeing what he can bring to bear, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing that, because like, I think what I expected and what I gathered from you guys, listening to you guys talk about this, is that there was going to be a very quick mega breakup, right?
Yeah,
as soon as Trump felt like Elon Musk was outshining him, he'd do him like he did Steve Bannon, right? And that still may happen. It seems like this New York Times article was actually trying to bring that about a little bit, right? Like they were going. Right? They kept saying, well, and Trump only has a mere $6.6 billion to Trump's or to Musk's 485 or whatever.
I like how they are trying to poke the bear a little. And I think they're trying to and also Bernie Sanders comes out and he says, President Musk, right?
Right.
I think you stoke that fire. You do what you can to stoke that fire. Get those guys hating each other. Look how quickly he threw Steve Bannon out last time he was in office. The moment he saw Bannon getting power, he was like, get him out of here.
Right. They did that, the Saturday Night Live sketch, right, where he was the Grim Reaper and he made Donald Trump sit at the little desk. Mm-hmm. So, and in a lot of ways, Saturday Night Live saved the fucking day with that, right?
No shit. Could you imagine the puppet master fucking Bannon actually staying in the entire 4 years? What we'd have?
Right. But so that's the thing, right? The most terrifying thing about Trump being president, and again, that's a Matryoshka doll of terrifying shit, but the most terrifying thing is that he's so easy to manipulate, but we can also use that to our advantage, right? Like, hopefully we can manipulate him away from Musk.
Yeah, please do it. Make sure, I think the best way to do it is to target both their fragile masculinities, right? Mm-hmm. Target that, say, like, Trump is a coward and he's on a leash by Musk, and say the exact opposite about Musk and Trump the other way. Like, do it both ways and make them so that they think the other one is sort of the one who's in control. And it makes them feel suddenly like, because they're both really weak dudes. I mean, if you really you cut it down, they're weak, terrified guys. And so I think that's gonna be the best way to do it. What I see too is, you look at this story and you hear Musk talk and you see Musk's X's or tweets or whatever they're called now. And he's talking about how there's these unelected people that are running this nation. And you're like, do you hear what you're saying? Now he's talking about a $60,000 a year IRS employee. He's not talking about himself, who he spent, $250 million in the last election to get his voice at the table.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, and again, it's the exact thing that everybody thought they were voting against, I think, having the billionaires in control of the government. These idiots seem to think somehow they were going to elect billionaires to get billionaires out of control or something. But yeah.
I really feel like the next time, America has any kind of choice whatsoever, I think some of the things that have to be on the table, and certainly one of them needs to be campaign finance reform. Because my God, the amount of money that went into this last election, almost $2 billion goes into this last election. And you see a lot of these oligarchs are able to chip in so much money. And look at how badly Musk manipulated the last election just with cash alone. It's just, and you could also include into that Twitter, because he bought Twitter with cash to manipulate the election.
Right, exactly, which is the only damn thing he's done with it, right? That's the only return on investment he's gotten out of Twitter so far. Well, and then what they're harping on in this article in the New York Times, and I think what Republicans in Congress are largely harping on, is the fact that, like, most donors don't then go on to exert this much vocal, public influence on the president, right? Or on whoever it is that they donated to. It's usually kind of behind the scenes. Hey, man, I gave you a lot of money, so do this. Elon Musk is just stepping out there going like, yep, we won the election.
Yeah. And he's coming in and saying, here's how it's going to be. And he's saying that essentially on the House floor. It's insane.